The spaceship hovered silently above the bustling human city, its silver hull reflecting the lights of towering skyscrapers. Zarella, the stunning alien girl from the distant planet Alindra, peered down through the transparent canopy of her cockpit, curiosity sparkling in her luminous violet eyes. She had traveled across galaxies to study humans firsthand, eager to understand the peculiar rituals that fascinated her species. And the one thing that seemed to puzzle Elindrans most was the human approach to reproduction, so strange yet so celebrated in their culture. Zarella's ship landed discreetly in a secluded park, the soft grass beneath her feet almost tickling her talons. She had studied humans from afar, seen their movies, their celebrations, and even the complex digital interactions they called social media, but nothing could have prepared her for the energy she felt standing among them. She adjusted her silver tunic and stepped out, her elegant figure catching the attention of a few nearby humans who, confused but mesmerized, whispered to each other. Among them was Leo, a curious biologist with an obsession for extraterrestrial life. He had been tracking reports of strange lights in the sky for weeks, and when he saw a figure descend, he froze, his notebook falling to the ground. His mouth opened, then closed, then opened again, as if he were trying to speak. Hello. He managed. Lila tilted her head, a playful smile forming on her lips. Greetings, Earth human, she said in perfect English, though her voice carried a melodious, otherworldly echo. I am Zarella, and I am studying your species, especially your reproductive customs. Leo blinked rapidly, unsure if this was some elaborate prank. You want to study what? He stammered, scratching his head. Zarella stepped closer, her gaze both inquisitive and gentle. Yes, I have observed from afar, but theoretical study is insufficient. I wish to understand fully, to observe the rituals directly, to learn how humans ensure the continuation of their species, she explained, tilting her head as if pondering a complex puzzle. Leo, despite his shock, felt a surge of excitement. This was a once-in-a-lifetime encounter. Well, humans do a lot of things to reproduce, some social, some biological. It's complicated, he admitted, scratching the back of his neck. Zarella's eyes widened with fascination. Complicated, precisely what I wish to explore. Will you assist me, Earth human? Leo hesitated, weighing the situation carefully. This was clearly not an ordinary encounter, yet the opportunity for first-hand research was irresistible. I suppose I can show you the cultural aspects, the dating, courtship, bonding, but you must understand, I cannot participate in the biological part, he said cautiously. Zarella nodded, her curiosity undeterred. I understand. I wish only to observe and comprehend. Please, teach me how humans express interest in one another, how they form connections, and how these connections lead to the continuation of life. So it began an unusual partnership, one that would take Leo and Zarella through bustling cafes, crowded dance halls, romantic parks, and even the occasional awkward encounter with humans who couldn't believe the stunning girl in silver tunic and violet eyes was, in fact, an alien. Zarella absorbed every detail, from the nervous glances in a first date, to the elaborate celebrations humans held, to announce partnerships. She asked countless questions, often at the most inconvenient moments, but Leo found himself smiling, marveling at her genuine curiosity and her ability to see the ordinary as something extraordinary. One evening, as the sun dipped below the skyline, casting golden reflections across the river, Zarella turned to Leo, her expression solemn. Leo, I observe that humans often do this thing to reproduce, but it is not purely biological. There is emotion, ritual, and commitment intertwined. It is beautiful, in a way my species does not experience. Leo felt a strange warmth in his chest, realizing that she was beginning to understand not just the mechanics but the essence of human connection. Yes, humans do that. We make bonds. We share love, trust, and sometimes mistakes. It's messy, but it works, he said softly. Zarella's eyes shimmered as she took in his words. I wish to learn all of it, even the messy parts. I wish to comprehend humans as they truly are, not just as my studies describe. And so, the alien girl, fascinated by the complexities of human reproduction and relationships, and the awkward but brilliant human biologist, continued their journey together, walking through a world full of wonder, humor, and unexpected discoveries. The next morning, Leo arrived at the park, notebook in hand, hoping Zarella hadn't wandered off exploring the city on her own. To his surprise, she was already there, perched on a bench as if she had been waiting, her silver tunic catching the morning sun and creating an ethereal glow around her. "Good morning, Leo," she said with a serene smile. "I have been observing humans as they interact in groups, their laughter, gestures, and even their displays of affection. It is fascinating." Leo chuckled nervously, adjusting his glasses. "Yes, humans are complicated creatures. They often express interest through conversation, gifts, gestures, and shared experiences. It's not always obvious, even to humans. Sometimes we misinterpret signals entirely." Zarella leaned closer, her violet eyes bright with curiosity. "I wish to understand these signals. This subtle communication, how one human knows another is interested, how they proceed from friendship to more intimate bonds." Leo cleared his throat, thinking carefully. "Well, it usually starts with attention, eye contact, small talk, humor, shared hobbies, and then, if both parties feel a connection, they pursue companionship more seriously, through dates, commitment, and eventually, sometimes, reproduction. It's emotional as much as it is biological." Zarella nodded, processing each detail as if storing it in her mind like a complex algorithm. "I see. So reproduction is not merely a biological act. It is a culmination of emotional investment, ritual, and mutual consent. This is unexpectedly profound. To give a practical experience, Leo decided they should attend a human social event, a casual gathering at a local cafe that often featured music and dancing. The moment they entered, the contrast was immediately evident. The chatter, the clinking of cups, the music. It was overwhelming yet exhilarating. Zarella's senses were attuned to frequencies beyond human perception, allowing her to notice subtle body language, micro-expressions, and unspoken intentions. "Observe how they interact," Leo whispered. "Notice the glances, the small touches, the way people lean toward those they like. They're unconsciously signaling interest." Zarella's gaze swept over the crowd, taking in each nuanced gesture. "Fascinating, Leo. Even minor hand movements convey meaning. The way they laugh at certain jokes, how proximity is managed. These are intricate patterns, almost like a dance." Leo grinned, seeing her enthusiasm. "Exactly. Humans have many layers of interaction, and it's often as confusing as it is beautiful. The dance you mentioned isn't just literal, it's figurative, too. People navigate social spaces carefully, seeking connection." Zarella tilted her head. "Then, perhaps I should learn both dances, the literal and the figurative. This will provide insight into human culture and the path to reproduction without merely observing, but participating." In understanding, as the evening progressed, Zarella attempted her first human dance, her movements fluid but precise, her alien physiology making her appear almost otherworldly as she mirrored Leo's cautious steps. The humans around them watched in awe, thinking she was performing a professional routine, unaware that she was learning human social norms. Leo laughed quietly, guiding her. "Not bad. But humans usually follow more instinct than precision. You'll have to loosen up a bit. Let emotion guide your steps." Zarella adjusted, her expression thoughtful. "Emotion guiding action. That is a recurring concept in human bonding. I will apply it to this dance and other interactions." After the dance, they sat outside, sipping warm beverages, the city lights reflecting off the nearby river. Zarella looked contemplative. "Leo, humans are far more intricate than I imagined. Their reproduction is not merely about biology, but about trust, connection, understanding, and ritual. I wish to study these aspects more deeply, perhaps even participate in social rituals fully, to see the progression from friendship to romantic bond." Leo nodded, feeling a strange mix of pride and caution. "I can guide you through social norms, but remember, humans value consent above all. Any step toward intimacy must be mutual. It's part of the ritual, part of what makes the bond meaningful." Zarella's gaze softened. "I understand, Leo. Mutual consent is essential, even for a being of my species. This principle is beautiful. It is not just about reproduction, but about respect and care for another." That night, Zarella returned to her ship, recording every observation, every nuance, and every unanswered question in her digital journal. She marveled at the complexity of human interaction, realizing that learning about reproduction was not a straightforward scientific endeavor. It was entwined with culture, emotion, history, and even humor. Leo, meanwhile, walked home with a sense of wonder. thinking about the alien girl who had captivated him not just with her beauty, but with her insatiable curiosity and sincerity. He wondered what other lessons they would discover together, what other human customs she would find both perplexing and mesmerizing. Asterisk. In the days that followed, their adventure continued, with Zarella observing not only courtship but friendships, family dynamics, public celebrations, and even the small, almost invisible gestures that humans made to communicate affection and care. Each moment was a lesson, and each lesson brought them closer to understanding not just reproduction, but the intricate tapestry of human life. And somewhere in the middle of it all, Leo realized that Zarella was not just learning from him, but teaching him as well, reminding him to see the wonder in what he had always considered ordinary, that the human experience, with all its mésanismes and unpredictability, was extraordinary when viewed through alien eyes. Over the next week, Zarella's study of humans intensified. She insisted on joining Leo on every outing, whether it was casual strolls in the park, attending cultural events, or observing public gatherings. Each interaction brought her new questions, and each question reminded Leo how strange yet fascinating human behavior could appear to an alien mind. One afternoon, Leo invited Zarella to a human gathering called a barbecue, a social event that involved cooking, casual games, and conversation. Zarella's eyes widened at the prospect, for cooking was a largely unknown concept on Alindra, where food came in nutrient pods, not aromatic, sizzling meals. Explain this process to me, Leo. This appears to be ritualistic, and smells are unusually compelling, she said, inhaling the scent of grilled vegetables and meat. Leo laughed. It is ritualistic. In a way, humans gather to bond over food, share stories, and enjoy companionship. Some even use it as an opportunity to express interest, give compliments, or perform subtle acts of affection. Like offering someone a bite of food, Zarella observed intently as humans offered each other food, laughed, and playfully argued about trivial matters. So, sharing nourishment is symbolic. It conveys care and attention, perhaps even affection, she asked. Exactly, Leo replied. It's not about the food itself, but the gesture, the thought behind it. But not everything went smoothly. Zarella's first attempt to offer food to a human friend went awry. She presented a perfectly shaped, glowing Ilindran fruit, which humans stared at in confusion, unsure if it was edible. One brave soul took a bite and coughed politely. It's different, they said. Zarella tilted her head, slightly embarrassed. I apologize, Leo. I am still learning the subtleties of human taste preferences. It seems my contribution is unconventional, Leo chuckled, trying to reassure her. It's fine, Zarella. Humans often misinterpret gestures. The important thing is the intention, not perfection. As the evening progressed, Zarella observed another human ritual called dancing with a partner, distinct from her previous listens at the cafe. This time, the focus was on improvisation, trust, and subtle physical cues. She followed Leo's guidance, trying to interpret the small shifts in body language, the pauses, the rhythm of conversation through movement. However, a humorous misunderstanding occurred when Zarella, interpreting a human comment literally, attempted a dramatic spin that sent her slightly off balance, nearly toppling Leo into the dessert table, causing laughter to erupt from nearby humans. Some cheered, thinking it was a performance, while others just watched, bewildered, embarrassed. Zarella apologized profusely. I miscalculated. Leo, humans use figurative language frequently. One must recalibrate my interpretations. Perhaps I am too literal. Leo laughed heartily, helping her regain balance. It's okay, Zarella. Humans appreciate effort and enthusiasm. Even mistakes can be endearing. As the night wore on, they sat by a fire pit, sharing stories about their respective worlds. Zarella spoke of Ilindra, where reproduction was purely biological, orchestrated by precise chemical signals and genetic algorithms, devoid of ritual, humor, or emotion. Leo described human history, traditions, and the emotional richness tied to reproduction. Your species must experience efficiency, Leo mused. But humans, we experience connection, joy, anxiety, anticipation, disappointment, all of which make our bonds stronger. They are messy, yes, but meaningful. Zarella's eyes shimmered as she absorbed the concept. I see, Leo. Humans do not merely reproduce to survive. They reproduce to connect, to create bonds that transcend biology. This is beautiful and perplexing. yet her curiosity extended beyond mere observation. And Zarella began asking increasingly personal questions. Leo, I notice humans sometimes display affection that is not easily explained by words or actions alone. A glance, a touch, a pause. How does one know when it is appropriate to advance toward intimacy? Leo hesitated, aware of the delicate balance. It depends on trust, mutual consent, and timing. Zarella, humans learn these cues over time, sometimes through trial and error. The important thing is respect and communication. Zarella nodded. Solemnly, I wish to understand fully, but I will respect boundaries. Leo, your guidance is invaluable in this, teaching me more than I could have learned from observation alone. Days later, an unexpected challenge arose when Zarella misinterpreted a common human joke. Believing it to be a literal statement about reproduction, she confronted Leo with, wide eyes. Leo, one human claimed that kissing leads directly to reproduction. Is this accurate? Leo's face went red, and he struggled to explain delicately. No, Zarella, that is not literal. Humans exaggerate humorously to entertain or tease. Kissing is symbolic of affection and emotional bonding, not a direct reproductive act. Zarella processed this carefully. Humor is metaphor, not instruction. I must update my understanding. Humor is clearly integral to human interaction. Despite misunderstandings, their bond grew stronger, built on shared curiosity, mutual respect, and moments of laughter. Zarella's alien perspective provided Leo with fresh insight into the beauty and absurdity of human rituals, while Leo's guidance helped her navigate a world that was both enchanting and confusing. As they returned to the park one evening, watching the city lights flicker across the river, Zarella turned to Leo. Thank you, Leo, for teaching me not just the mechanics of reproduction, but the subtle art of human connection. I am beginning to see that humans do not simply act for survival, but for meaning, for emotion, for expression. Leo smiled. You're welcome, Zarella. And in learning about humans, I think I'm learning about myself too, seeing our world in a way I never imagined. And so, their study continued, filled with laughter, missteps, and revelations. Zarella's alien mind absorbing the richness of human interaction, and Leo's heart opening to the wonder of seeing his world through eyes that were literally out of this universe. The days that followed were filled with quiet discovery. Zarella shadowed Leo through his daily routines, observing not just human rituals but also the small, personal moments that often went unnoticed. She watched him feed stray animals, help an elderly neighbor carry groceries, and laugh with children at the park. Each action seemed minor, yet it revealed the depth of human compassion. Leo, Zarella said one afternoon as they rested under the shade of an oak tree, I notice humans form bonds in many ways, not always through grand gestures or rituals, but through consistency, care, and shared experience. Is this part of your species' method of reproduction? Leo smiled. Yes, in a way. The foundation of human connection often comes from trust and understanding, before reproduction or romance. Humans seek emotional compatibility, mutual respect, and shared values. Zarella's violet eyes shimmered as she considered this. Fascinating. Your species intertwines emotional development with biological necessity, ensuring that connection precedes action. This principle is admirable. To give her further insight, Leo suggested a simple experiment in trust. They would spend the day sharing secrets and vulnerabilities with each other, observing how honesty and openness affected their bond. At first, Zarella struggled, revealing thoughts about Alindra and her species' efficiency-driven lives. She admitted how odd it felt to experience emotions without a clear purpose. Leo reciprocated, sharing fears, past failures, and moments of human doubt. Zarella listened, intently, analyzing subtle changes in his tone, posture, and expressions. Her understanding of human connection deepened with every word. By evening, sitting atop a hill overlooking the glowing city, Zarella spoke softly. Leo, I have begun to comprehend that human reproduction is not merely an act of biology, but a culmination of trust, emotion, and mutual understanding. I see now why humans cherish these bonds. It is as though the journey itself holds more meaning than the outcome. Leo reached out and gently touched her hand, a gesture of reassurance and friendship. Exactly, Zarella. Humans value the process, the shared experience, the emotional intimacy that precedes physical connection. Zarella smiled, feeling a warmth, unfamiliar yet comforting. I am grateful, Leo, for guiding me through these lessons. I now understand that true connection requires patience, empathy, and respect. This is far more enlightening than any data I could have collected alone. As night fell, They remained on the hill, side by side, watching the stars and contemplating both human life and alien perspectives. In that quiet moment, Sorella realized that learning about humans was no longer just a mission, but a shared journey of discovery, trust, and understanding.